Welcome back to Division I Rejects. I'm your host, Kobe Manzo. It's episode 158. Got a couple great guests today. The first one's in the studio with me. What's up, fella?
What's up? How are you doing?
How you doing, Kenny?
Good.
Glad to be in here, man. Glad to have you in here.
Yes, finally.
You got a mixed allegiance here. You got the NMU sweatshirt, and then you got with the Lakers flat brim right there. Is that a playoff push hat? What's going on?
I found it at the store in Indianapolis.
The Lakers hat in Indianapolis? That's good, dude.
It cost $10.
I love it. They're gonna need to pull something out of their ass for the little series of the Nuggets. Yeah, game 2 is gonna be a big one for them. But
and also we're in Philadelphia.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Not rest in peace to their athletic programs up there. Finlandia up in the Upper Peninsula, no longer, unfortunately. But we're talking a lot of D3 ball tonight. We've got head coach from Curry College, Todd Parsons. He'll join us here shortly. And then later on, Cole Burgess, the wide receiver from Cortland, the Cinderella story, the Red Dragons this year. He joins us ahead of the NFL draft, a guy that has been generating a good amount of buzz from the NFL level. And we've seen him really excel throughout that playoff run with the Red Dragons. And just someone that really just exploded onto the scene this year. You catch any of that D3 National Championship game?
A little bit. It's been busy of everything about that time.
You missed out, brother. That Stag Bowl, that was the best that I've seen. I'll tell you that much.
I'm gonna rewatch the clips tonight.
You need to. Pull up those highlights. See Zach Boys and company dealing out there with Cortland against a really good North Central team. But otherwise, in the D2 scene, Tanner Volk, he accepted the Cliff Harris Award as the best defensive player in small college football. Quite the achievement, but we've seen the year that he had over there at Central Washington. Pretty incredible. The best D3 teams in the country. Take a look at a kind of an interesting statistic that dates all the way back to 1997. Cool piece there. And finally, more D2 spring scrimmages. Seeing some more action, some inter-squad, and also some team versus team stuff. So we talked about that new rule that had been implemented in Division II post-COVID about teams being able to play each other. And that, I think it's just a great piece for all these D2 squads. So more teams taking advantage of it. And then finally, one that I'm really excited about, we've got helmet comms coming to D1, at least FBS football. You get to have the piece inside of the headgear, inside the helmet, just like the NFL.
That's going to be exciting.
It's going to be sweet. You know what it means, though, and we'll get into it later, is no more of the crazy signs and all the guys wearing different colors on the sidelines. Is that just gone now?
Yes, I think so. Like, it's crazy how they do that. Like, it's going to be nice having
you could have a whole department of dudes that are just, you just got to relay a sign in, wearing neon caps and holding up boards and trying to hide signs. But is this the Connor Stallions rule? Is this how this will go down?
It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice for Michigan, of course.
Oh, it won't be nice for Michigan. They can't steal any more signs.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see about that. We'll talk about it later. But as always, you can watch the episode on YouTube. If you are, don't forget timestamps, video chapters, bottom of the screen there. Otherwise, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcast. Follow us on the socials. Let's get right into the first of those guest interviews with Coach Parsons. Joining us on the show tonight, the man that made us believe purple turf was coming to D3 football, head coach of the Colonels at Curry College, is Todd Parsons. What's up, Coach?
Kobe, how you doing? I appreciate you having me on here tonight.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on here. Like I said, even though you deceived me just a few weeks back, and looking back on that, man, you talked about, you were telling me before we got going, one of your guys put that together, and you know what? When you enlarge the thing, I'll pull it up in a second for the people to see if they missed it. When you enlarge the thing, yeah, it becomes a little obvious that there's some shady shit going on, but man, when I tell you, I wake up April 1st, unsuspecting as hell. You guys are probably the first picture on my timeline, and here we go, retweet, let's get this thing going. I'm excited. I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. And then I come back, and we're playing freaking anagram on the left side of the screen with these letters or whatever the hell. Got me, but I wasn't the only one, like you said, right?
Right. Yeah, we did it. I'll say, like, we tried to do it last year, and they really didn't want us to put it out. And, asked again this year, and they were like, go ahead, let it fly. And, we put a tweet out probably, I think, what was April 1st? Monday, maybe?
Yep.
And we put a tweet out Friday, like, hey, big announcement coming, and tried to set it up, a little bit. But, it did what it did. Obviously it's free advertisement for the program and the school, and got a bunch of views, and we're able to have some fun with it,
No, it was really sweet, man. I got to pull up now, but I think it was like maybe 10, 15 minutes later in the day, even just a little bit after, I'm scrolling down and I see the post. You might have seen it from, I believe it was USF and FAU, and they had that sweet graphic of a football field on an aircraft carrier. Right. And I'm like, whoa. And then something back here was like, dude, like, you've been got, and I had to go back and retrace my steps. But regardless, I'm happy to get you on the show, talk about your program, and like you said, it's great free promo for you guys. Like whether or not the thing's coming or not, like the fact that many people, it was like 80,000+ people saw that tweet, now probably know about Curry College that probably did not know before. Get it however you can, man. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you, as you know, and talking with the small schools, like sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Like, so many guys don't, especially when it's to the lower levels, recruiting becomes so much regional, sometimes, and that's what all guys know. And, any chance to put yourself out there on a bigger scale is always good.
And we're going to talk about your familiarity with that region over there in a little bit here. But
Mhm.
you guys right now still in the thick of spring ball, look like?
Yeah, we are. We're,
Okay.
we finish up this week. We have one practice to make up. So we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we do what we call our Colonel Clash
Oh,
on
I like that.
on Saturday. Yep.
That's big. No, that's big time. Do you battle with, because that's kind of a later, in terms of the grand scheme of things, pretty late spring ball. You battle with kids in exams or anything of that nature, or no?
No, so by rule we have to be done essentially the week before
Okay,
exams.
good. Yep.
So our guys they got one more week of class next after this week, and then they'll go into exams.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. And it was interesting. We're talking later in the show about D2 obviously had that new rule implemented where they can play other teams in the spring and set up some kind of scrimmage. And so we were talking about a Minnesota State Mankato team that had their spring game, their version of the Colonel Clash, if you will.
Yep.
And then they went and played Northern State, a team in their conference that they won't see in 2024, but they go play them a week later. I mean,
Yeah.
could you imagine what would that look like for you guys basically playing two spring games back to back in just about a week's difference of time there?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you have more opportunity to play, right, and is good. We're even starting to see now. It's almost like you kind of get that itch in preseason camp where your guys are just sick and tired of playing, right, the same
Oh yeah.
guys, and it starts to get a little chippy at times. But for us in Division 3, we get 16 practices. You know, 4 of those can be in helmets and shoulder pads.
Okay.
Everything else is just helmets. So even when we do our Colonel Clash, stuff, it's, everything is stud, right? And
Interesting.
that
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
stuff. And, but we try to make the best out of it within the rules that we're given. And really the only time you can actually put on full pads as a Division 3 program is, I think it's every 4 years. If your program could schedule something to like an overseas trip, right? To go play,
Yep. Insert Alma, their trip over, like a great example
exactly,
of what's going on right now. Yep.
exactly. And then at that point, then you're able to treat spring ball just like any of the higher levels, right? The
Yeah.
scholarship level school where you're in pads.
Scott's going over to play the East Kilbride Pirates. How about that one?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was a Colonel's team, where would they be located out of? There's no right answer to that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Right.
You talk about stuff getting chippy, especially when it comes to spring ball. When you've been around the same group of dudes, you just get pissed off enough at especially when it's like, I know I came in as a freshman, running back. My roommate is a middle linebacker. Guess who's thudding every single morning when we go into the dome at freaking ass crack of dawn, 6:30 in the morning? You get sick of dudes pretty quick. You got to go to, I don't want to say punishment. Do you have a go-to consequence for these guys? You make them hold hands and walk around the field. What's the go-to for you guys over there?
No, I mean, it's always going to get chippy.
Yeah.
One of the things that, in terms of, I guess, any kind of punishment we do for our guys, it's something I actually got from Coach Bob Chesney, who I was
Okay.
on staff with, and he's at JMU now. But it's something we call rolling the dice, right? So
Okay.
anytime anyone might be late for a meeting or even late for class or miss or whatever, it's like, you're taking a chance, right? There might be something really important in those first 5 minutes that you miss, or there might not be, So it's rolling a dice. You roll a 1, it's 100 yards of 5 yard up downs every 5 yards. You roll a
Okay.
6, it's 600 yards. So that's the other thing. But like when it gets chippy and stuff like that, we don't really do anything. I mean, I guess at times you kind of want to see that, a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit, but
Oh yeah.
know when to draw the line and can you reel back in?
No, 100%. I like that. Rolling the dice, and you're almost giving them like some amount of at least perceivable control over their own
Exactly.
deal. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I like that a lot. But go back to kind of you in that area, right? You've been at Curry a few years now, but you're familiar with that area, being at Endicott, about an hour away from each other, right? As far as geographically, like they're just about neighbors, I guess, depending on your scale
So
of
they
things.
sit on the North Shore of Boston, and we're on the South Shore. So
There you
just
go.
really on the other side of the city. But
And
go ahead.
no, you're good, man. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sure you're going to answer my question anyways.
Yeah. I think I'm from Pennsylvania originally and went to school at a Division III school, Averett University down in Virginia, and kind of fell in love with the South there. And I always thought that's like where I'd end up and wanted to be, right? And the job takes you in a completely different direction. I was joking with our coaches last season. We were playing up at Husson in Bangor, Maine, which is probably just about as far north as you can go, and telling them that same thing. But had an opportunity to get up there and start coaching at Salve Regina here in Newport, Rhode Island, which was in the conference, with Curry and Endicott at that point in time. And back then Curry was just coming off a big run of 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, conference wins, national playoff wins, top 25 in the country. And it was like, how do we beat Curry? As we all know, like things go in waves, and they kind of, drifted down there a little bit. And, in between that time, I had stops at some other places, most recently at Endicott, in the conference. And Curry was always just a really tough team. Like you could never just look past them. They just had tough kids, right?
Absolutely.
All the time. And that was one of the draws, for me, as first head coaching job. Obviously the familiarity with the conference and the program, and winning's been done at a high level here, but just knowing the type of kids that are here, and it's certainly, we're in the process of rebuilding it, and our guys are completely bought in. But we all know it's a process for sure.
Hell yeah. No, well said. And you're a guy that's got experience at just about every level, except I don't think you've got any NAIA experience, excuse me. But as far as the NCAA scene goes, you've been very well spread out, and you've got a lot of great stops along the way there. But when it comes to Endicott, and more specifically your experience there, man, a constant for you guys was just winning football games. You did a lot of that. Endicott, these last couple of years, you talk about a kind of those runs when it comes to programs and where they're at. Endicott is right there, and they're doing a lot of good things over there. You were a part of it for quite a few years. What aspects of that program do you bring over to Curry, a scheme aside and those kind of things? What aspects of winning program and culture do you bring to Curry in a place that you already mentioned it earlier has the historic blueprint of success? This isn't a school or a program that has never seen success, on a conference or a national scale.
Yeah, I think first of all, like Coach Paul McGonigal up there is doing an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
And him and I were on staff together at Assumption College with Bob Chesney, right?
Okay,
so, and I think, everyone kind of takes, we come from that tree, and everyone kind of takes it to the next stop. And it was kind of the blueprint, right, of everything. And now, when I got on, Coach McGonigal's staff, you could see the baseline, but see how he implemented his own things, right, and changes, for better, right. And same thing here. It's if you came to a Curry practice, or really looked at the blueprint, the baseline of this, probably very similar, right. And also, if you go back to Salve Regina, right, Kevin Gilmartin, the head coach there, he was on staff with us when we were there too, like very similar, right. It's kind of funny, we had when I first got the job here, I hired the offensive line coach from Salve Regina, and I pull up the practice plans and the practice scripts and that kind of stuff, and he was like, "This is the same ones that they're still using at Salve, right?" And so those are the same ones at Endicott, the same ones, here, and I'm sure Coach Chesney's still using, right, the same.
I hear you, man. That's funny how that stuff that carries over, and something someone might think as little as as a practice script or whatever. It's a big piece. And like you said, it's not usual, right? You go different places. Usually you're changing it and modifying things. So if something is being a constant through all of that, better work, I would assume.
Yeah.
But talk about your 2024 schedule this year. You got 6 teams on there, man. Made the playoffs last year. And you guys did not pull a single punch when it came to scheduling the out-of-conference games. You got quite the slate ahead of you. I'm sure you guys are pretty pumped about it.
Yeah. I mean, we're up for the challenge, and I think that's one of the things. I mean, we are returning a lot of guys. We were a really young team, and we were about 60% freshmen on our roster,
Okay.
last year.
Yeah.
And we got some good players, but we still got to develop them, and they got to continue to take the next steps. And that schedule kind of came to us a little bit. We had two teams that were originally on our schedule that backed out, right, for whatever reason. So now we're hunting for games, and it's really really tough to find non-conference games.
Hell yeah.
These days, and of course everyone wants a home game, right? That's the other thing. Hardin Simmons, they were looking for him. I know their league's kind of spread out, a
That's
little
a
bit.
very nice way of saying it, a very
Yeah,
politically correct way of saying it. They are falling apart down there in the
yeah,
SC,
yeah.
but I said that, not you.
Yeah, of course, of course. But obviously they're a really, really good program,
Yeah.
and a strong conference down there, and for our guys to have an opportunity to get a taste, right, of what that's like, and I think our guys, I think we can match up well, right? We'll let the game play out. But yeah, we got them, and then Ithaca, that's
Oh yeah.
another top 20 team, national playoff team. It's coming to us week 4, in homecoming. We had Alfred State on our schedule in
Okay.
prior years, and coach is doing a great job on them. I mean, they go to the national playoffs this year, and I'm just watching them, and it's 28-14 at halftime with Mountain Union,
Yep.
So yeah, it's going to be a really really good schedule. And the one team that like we said, 6 of those 10 teams were in the postseason
Yep.
some sort of way. And then you got teams like Hudson, who was 7-3.
Yep.
So
No, totally. And again, just to keep elaborating in mind, the challenges you guys are having, they're going to be great proving points for you guys. That Hardin Simmons team who goes up and shocks lacrosse, and then they go and win that conference and get over the hump that is UMHB down there. And then Ithaca squad.
Yep.
I remember I took a visit to Ithaca out of high school back when Coach Torper was not the man in charge of everything over there. And they're talking about this kid, Wingfield, this quarterback that's coming and it's going to light the place up. And I'm like, oh, this kid must be legit. Here we go. Fast forward 4 years. Legit.
he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's legit. He's a legit player.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited to see that and kind of a measuring stick for a lot of what you guys got going on. Now, to stay on that topic of the out of conference scheduling, I have not been covering Division III football for 20 years. I'd say it's like 2, maybe 3. But what I can say in my limited time covering this and kind of being more involved with it, this past year had the most entertaining out-of-conference slate, I think, in the entire landscape that I've seen. Again, I can't reach back and go super far in any database. Why is that? It feels like we're getting a lot more matchups between some really prominent programs and also kind of getting outside of that regional bubble, because that's obviously a limiting factor for a lot of smaller schools when you bring into cost. We're not chartering flights here from Curry to a lot of places. So maybe in case of I'm not going to assume things. Maybe you guys are getting a plane down there. I don't know. But the regional deal has been something that's been good and bad for D3 football. How have we started to break out of that the last couple of years?
Well, I think, just in terms of playoffs alone, like strength of schedule plays a big role, right?
Yep.
And everyone wants those home games and that kind of stuff. And, it always helps, right? And I think especially for teams in the Northeast, like, Cortland State going and winning the national championship is, no one probably thought that was too feasible a couple, years ago. I think there's a lot more parity at the Division III level than there may have been in years past. Even Coach McGonigal and Endicott, I mean, they beat Hardin Simmons, right, last year, right, in week 3 or 4, whatever it was. So, but I think it's also good, like, for us, like, not only for our program, but for New England football, right, in general, to be able to step out and start playing some of these better, teams. And, they've done it up at Endicott. Western New England's done it. They're going down and playing Susquehanna, who's a really good top 20 program in Pennsylvania. Springfield obviously is up here, but and now we're trying to kind of jump on that train, a little bit.
I hear you, and that we're just gonna keep rolling with that scheduling deal, because for you guys it changes just a little bit in the future because of that deal between the CCC. Was there a flashier name for that? That coastal conference? What do you guys call it?
is just CCC.
Just
Yeah,
CCC. We got to think of
that's all
C
it goes.
cubed. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
anyways, the conference, you guys make a deal with the NUMAC, and you've got,
Hmm.
when it comes to football, as far as the scheduling deal, it's not the first time a NUMAC team's been on your schedule. Definitely not.
Hmm.
But it's something where you're going to secure at least one out of conference game. But I think the more exciting piece of that is the idea and the promise of a bowl game at the end of the season for teams. Typically, it's that first team that's not playoff eligible, right? So we've seen games like the Lakefront Bowl, the Culver's Bowl, those kind of deals like that. That's got to be a really exciting prospect for you guys, especially, you know, in a conference where you're going to get an automatic bid that goes to the playoffs. But then what else? What else for a team like Husson who goes 7-3? You know, like teams like that, you're just not really rewarded with much at the end of the year. Got to be a really enticing kind of idea.
Yeah, no, I think again, any extra football for anybody is always a good thing. And I know when our conference, we were looking at trying to get a deal with another conference to cross over and guarantee a non-conference game because they are so hard to come by. You know, the NUMAC really matched up with the CCC in terms of, you know, academics. They're all private schools, and most of us have played. You know, some child like we opened up with Salve Regina last year. We're going to open
Totally.
up with them again this year. Western New England and Springfield. So, and we played MIT, you know, last year. So it's already kind of been in place. Now it's just something to kind of confirm itself. And then when you talk about bowl games, you know, at this level, you know, as of right now, there's only 32 teams that make it, right? Out of
Yep.
240, which is the largest, right?
Man.
And that was something, you know, in other stops where, you know, if we didn't make the playoffs and we got to these bowl games, you know, getting the guys excited to play in those. And, you know, when you compare it to Division 1, like I know times have changed, right? A little, a little bit in those,
Yeah.
but like a bowl game's a bowl game, right? Like that's the goal, right? For so many Division 1 programs. Why is it any different really for Division 3? So more opportunities for guys to play and have a chance to take home a quote unquote championship, right? Somehow is always a bonus.
Yep. Times have changed. You're not going to be showered, I would assume, with any mayonnaise or starches of
Yeah.
any kind, potatoes of the sort, French fry. I don't know. There's a million, right? They're going to run out of sponsors eventually. They probably won't because there's money involved.
Right.
But as far as that bowl game is concerned, they said it could start potentially as soon as this fall. Is there any update on that or what kind of timeline we're looking at?
I have not heard an update as of yet.
Okay.
I would hope so. I think that would be great. I
Need
know
it.
the crossover games are
Need it.
kind of for this year, just because some teams, including us, were in contract, right, with other non-conference teams. So
Yeah.
like it's not a must, right, for our teams to cross over this coming year. But I
Mhm.
think in 25, I think it's pretty much a done deal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Sweet. No,
Yeah.
that's a great opportunity for those guys. And like you said, any extra football is great, and more postseason stuff for Division 3 is awesome. I'm sure you've seen some of the discourse. There's a lot of it on the old Twitter space about the current playoff picture. We've just been kind of innocent bystanders in that whole deal. Probably going to keep it that way. Just going to enjoy the football we got. If the NCAA changes, probably won't. But if they do, hey, never know. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But control what you can control. I know you're going to do that over there. Really excited to see what you have going on over there with the Colonels coach. Can't say it enough, man. Appreciate your time coming on here.
No, thank you. I mean, giving us the platform here, I think anytime the smaller schools have a chance to do this and put themselves out there, I think it's a great opportunity.
Amen. Sweet, coach. I appreciate you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
See ya. Joining the show tonight, this guy's a borderline media pro at this point, deservedly so. Big part of the championship run, the Cinderella story, if you will, at Cortland this year. It's wide receiver Cole Burgess. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm pumped to get you on here. Do you guys identify as a Cinderella, or is this a Jack Golke situation after Kentucky? Not a Cinderella.
Nah, I mean, if you look at it, we were Cinderella, but in our program, we knew what we had, so we don't think we were Cinderella. But in the
Good
grand
answer.
scheme of things, it's a Cinderella story.
Good quality answer, appealed to both sides of it. But you're right? Like you guys in that locker room, there's never like we'll just get to the first or second round and then that'll be good. Like if you're in the playoffs, we were just talking with Coach Parsons, like you're in the playoffs, there's 30-some teams out of 240 or something ridiculous. The teams that are in there belong there for the most part. And if you're in there, man, you're planning on playing all the way. But what have the last couple months been like since that championship game for you, brother?
It's been cool. Cooled off from the championship hype, and now it's just all draft, NFL hype, scouts hitting my phone, calling me, meetings, just a lot of stuff going on at once, and just keep snowball effects. And once the draft happens, then it's going to kind of all, I feel like it's going to slow down a little bit, but I know it's going to speed up in another wave. So, yeah, I'm just taking it for what it is day by day and enjoying the process.
Best way to do it, man. Enjoy where you're at, where your feet are right now. Side note, did you guys ever send a gift basket to the kicker from Grove City?
I did not. I don't know if anybody else. We got a big team. I'm sure somebody might have messaged them or something.
Like, I don't know, like maybe like little flowers, little thank you. I don't know, maybe a gift card. Find out what his favorite like restaurant is or something.
If I get drafted, I'll give him something nice.
Dude.
I might not be drafted if he doesn't miss that kick.
When that happens, not if, when that happens, right? Manifest it. But when that does happen, yeah, we got to break that story. That'd be hilarious. And I'm sure you'd appreciate it. Get a free lunch out of it.
Yeah, he would.
That'd be pretty cool. But let's talk about the pro days, right? Syracuse, Buffalo, you get into both of those. For a lot of people at our level, the D2, D3, NAI, whatever it is, man, it's tough to get in front of the right eyes, right? Because that process, you talk about your representation and trying to get NFL scouts interested enough in you that they're going to vouch for you and they're going to get you in those environments in front of those right eyes. But you go there, put up what I would assume some numbers that you're really happy with, man. Tell me about that experience and what you learned through that.
Yeah, I was definitely happy with those numbers. I mean,
hell yeah.
The broad jump and the bench, those were both PRs for me. I didn't even touch those when I was training throughout the spring.
Dude. I love that.
Yeah, I was shocked when I did that, to be honest. But it was cool. I forget how many scouts were at each, but there was a good amount at each. And it was nice to have all those eyes on me when I was doing my drills, running routes, doing all the other stuff. So I also got to talk to some after, which was nice. And yeah, overall it was a good experience. I'll say one thing, I was super nervous. I mean, I don't know if anybody watching this, if you have a pro day, like I played at the championship, but there was no nerves I felt like before I was going on the bench, and then the broad jump. I never felt that before. It was insane.
I believe that, dude. What's the mindset like going into those? Is it because you said you hit two of those numbers that you maybe hadn't even seen those before? Do you go into it with a target kind of range, or is it more of the approach of, hey, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna do my thing and do it to the best of my ability, whatever the number is, that's what it is?
Nah, I mean, I had goals. I had goals for everything that I was doing, and throughout training, those two months or whatever it was, I'm doing those drills multiple times a week, so I know where I'm at and what I can hit. So I set my goals higher than what I think I can get, just so anything can happen. I want to shoot high, aim for the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was my plan going in, and as a Division III athlete, my mindset going in is I gotta turn heads with the pro day. I mean, if my numbers aren't there, then my chances of making it are slim. So I knew I had to go and put up elite numbers, and I feel like I did that. I didn't get good numbers in my pro agility and my 3-cone at Buffalo. The turf wasn't the best, so I reran them in Syracuse, and then I hit the numbers that I wanted to. So overall, all the numbers I had were good for me.
Yeah, and you were wondering how many teams were there. I'll tell you what, it was over 20 NFL teams. At least I believe that was the Syracuse number. That's ridiculous. The numbers you also hit, ridiculous. You definitely showed out in that one. I love who does the RAS scores, little bomb logo. I'm blanking, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen them. I don't know who does them, but it's
a lot of green. Yeah. Hey, a lot of green on there.
A lot of green.
A lot of green on there. We like that. What was the one red box? Like your weight?
I think it was my height. Maybe
was it height? Come on, yeah. Just more to the story, man. Just more to the story. But the quote from you that I love, and I want to talk about. There's a couple of them, but the first one: the further you go, the less teams there are, the more eyes are on you. Obviously, talking about the playoff run, especially being a D3 football guy, you get another step and another step deeper into that playoff run. It's one thing to be there in the playoffs. It's another thing to show up and show out and ball out for your guys. Talk about how important those postseason games are in terms of putting really good tape out there and being evaluated at the next level for small school guys.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, speaking for myself, I've played in big games before, and I put up crazy numbers throughout my career, but when I got into the big games, I never felt like I did my what I knew I could do. So this last season, when I got on those stages, on ESPN for the finals and the semifinals, like,
hell yeah,
I made it a point. I wanted to just do what I knew I could do, and doing that was going to help the team. So I was able to do that, thankfully, and it was just a great experience because I had a lot of people back home watching, and I knew, like you said, the further you go, the less teams, the more eyes are on you. I knew that scouts were watching, going up against the best competition in my level. So I needed to show out against the best teams in my level to make a case for myself to play at the next level. And that's what I did, and helped out my team in a major way. And we got the ring. We get that ring next week.
Big time, big time. Yeah, we're just taking a look at, we looked at, what was it, GV and Alma this last week. Whenever y'all get that video posted, we get it over here. We'll take a look, we'll critique it, break it down, but most importantly, just celebrate y'all, man. But when you're talking about that film, I feel like that's probably the most important piece of film for these small school guys are those moments in the playoffs against really top caliber competition. When you're putting together your reel, or you and your agent, whoever's representing you, when you're kind of putting together that stuff, are a lot of those things coming first? Is that a priority? What's the feedback, if you've heard any, about that kind of tape? I would assume that's the most important part of kind of your little portfolio outside of the numbers and some of the measurables.
Yeah, my agent, John Perez, shout out him. He's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. But he said when I was making my highlight tape, he wanted to put the big plays first. He said that put the the first play in my highlight was the game winner in the champion, or the go ahead touchdown in the championship. Yeah. So I put that, and then like other plays that show my versatility, like a kickoff return, a pooch kick against Ithaca my freshman year, just those plays, and then some nice catches. But yeah, definitely having the championship plays early on was I want to do that for myself, just because those are some of my favorite plays.
Dude, yeah, and then you got someone looking at the film, and you're like, "Whoa, I thought we were watching a D3 kid. This guy's on ESPN. What are we? That pulled up the wrong. You know what I mean? Like this is legit. This is exactly what's got going on." But potentially the better quote from you, and the one that we might need to get put somewhere in the studio here, got to make it to where the air is rare. That is. Do you even remember saying that?
I can't take credit for that. I can't.
Where does that come from? Because whoever it is, I got to give them their flowers, bro. I love that.
Coach Mack, he was my first college coach before Coach Fitz came to Cortland, and he had a repertoire of quotes like that. And
word choice.
That was one of the quotes that stuck with me. Another quote that he's infamous for is "keep your fork." Like when you're eating food, like you always keep your fork for dessert. There's more to come. You know what I mean? Like right now, I got my fork. I'm waiting to go to the league.
That's good, dude. Keep your fork. Got to make it where the air is rare. I'm listening. You know, I do my little research, and the guys are coming on the show, just watching some other stuff you've done. I think it was after the Syracuse Pro Day. It was like that little interview. And I got it on the second monitor while I'm doing something else. And I did like a little, I hit pause, had to play that one back. I was like, man, he definitely had that one prepped. He was spitting bars on that. I loved it. But great to see. Coach Mack. I absolutely do. This dude sounds like he's full of just great stuff. But glad to see your name. You talked about that snowball effect earlier. I think that's very real because your name gets brought up in one ring, and now all of a sudden you're a part of a lot of different conversations, right? So glad to see your name and a couple other small school guys getting thrown into the conversation now when it comes to draft prospects. How much do you or can you read into some of those tweets and other things that you see out there? How much does that mean to you, or how much do you kind of want to say, hey, just like, it might mean something, it might not, try to stay pretty level-headed?
Yeah, you got to stay level-headed, like especially for people like in my position, like the prospects. Like that stuff's cool to look at, but I take it with a grain of salt. A lot of those people tweeting, they're just tweeting because they're a fan of the NFL. They like to break it down, but in reality, nothing matters except for what the NFL teams and their scouts are evaluating me as.
Amen.
That's really all it is. But it's cool to look at. I got my friends, my parents sending me that stuff all the time, and it's cool. Like I've always looked at those tweets before, and now like I'm in the tweets, so. Seeing like one thing that's crazy is like seeing myself in the mock drafts. That's surreal for me.
That's ridiculous. That is really cool.
I saw one mock draft for me going to the Chiefs in the 7th round, first pick in the 7th round. And I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would not be opposed to that.
Trust me, I saw the tweet. That was pretty cool. Because you said grew up a Jets guy, right? But you're like Chiefs, Bengals. Like you've diversified your fandom a little bit. It sounds like, right?
Yeah, I had to. Like I went to Cortland. I like to win. It's hard to be a fan of a team that just does not win. So I ventured off.
I get it, dude. I get it. Let's talk about that Cortland team. Over this past year, man, over 500 yards a game offensively is just absurd. When it comes down to it, though, the defense at a lot of ways throughout that playoff process there in those different rounds, they stepped up big time. And that wasn't maybe a calling card for you guys at certain points during the regular season. But then you go to that national championship game in the first half, I guess specifically of that Stag Bowl, man. it just defense was holding on and really keeping you guys in it. How does their identity change, if at all, of that team moving forward? Obviously, you guys losing some big pieces, but also retaining some as well. Kind of, everyone goes through that, but a good mix of that. How does that identity change, if at all, moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can never count out our offense with Coach Fitz calling the plays. He always finds a way to make things happen. But I personally believe that our defense is going to be the backbone of the team next year. I mean, We're bringing back a lot of studs, our linebackers, Jack Winey, Jay Martinez, our linemen. We got Nick Ladaro coming back, freshman Nas. We got a bunch of guys that are going to – well, he's not a freshman. He's going to be a sophomore. But we got a lot of guys on the defense that when they play together, like we saw in the national championship, they can do some special things, which I'm excited to watch. And, we got Zach Boyce coming back, Jaden Alfano St. John, two elite players in the backfield. I mean, we lost a few on offense, me and JJ. But I think that they got a lot of success on their way.
Rebuild and do it again, man. That's the name of the game. But outside of the obvious ones being just knowing how to win, what are some of the takeaways from that staff, whether it is Coach Fitz or other members of the staff over there at Cortland? What are some of the takeaways from them that have helped you throughout maybe even this process while you were playing, or also transitioning now to try and get a spot on a professional roster? What are some of the takeaways from those guys and that staff?
Yeah, just keeping the faith, going back to that Grove City game. I mean, we had our backs against the wall. Like, if you were watching that game, you probably counted us out, but we were on the sideline that whole time. We kept the faith. I remember going up and down the sideline saying, we're going to win the game. We're going to win the game. I don't know how, but we're going to win the game. And when they kicked the field goal, went up, and it was off by about 6, maybe 12 inches. And we won the game. And I think that was all just because of the faith. We had so much faith in each other, our coaches. And, each game we just kept on winning, and our faith got bigger and bigger until we got to the grand finale against North Central, big bad North Central Division III. And we gave them our best shot. And now I'm going to give my best shot to the league and see what happens.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And that was monumental for the landscape when it comes to Division III. You talk about that side of, your bracket and people talking about the strength of the playoffs and all these things come into question. And it's great for a team to come out of the woodwork and just throw shit all over the place, because then you disrupt all these norms. You talk about an area of the country that maybe hasn't seen that much success at this level, and a school that gets it done for the first time. But we were talking about a graphic earlier, teams that haven't had losing seasons since 1997. Cortland Red Dragons on that graphic. Might have been the first time you got it done on the national stage, but this program is not a first to the playoffs. This is certainly not a year of firsts last year. So I think I'm sure you would agree, there's a lot more to come from this squad, man.
Oh, yeah, that's a testament to Coach Fitz. I mean, the moment he got here, he's been here this is going to be his 4th season. I mean, 5th counting COVID, but since he's gotten here, the team's been going up and to the right the whole time. And I'm excited to see how much further he takes his team, maybe get a couple more championships and back to Park Center. And yeah, I mean, he's a great coach, and I'm really excited to see how much more they can win.
Oh yeah. Well, man, whether it's a late round pick or it's a UDFA type deal, what you know is you're going to get yourself a shot, right? It's all about getting your foot in the door wherever it's at. And I think you've done a really good job of just checking all the boxes, right? I'm sure you guys talk about that all the time. It's something we talk about on this show of, for guys at our level, all you need to do is give them no reasons to turn you down off the bat. And then now you've got yourself at least at an OTA, a camp, whatever the hell it is, in a mini camp, and those kind of things, earning your shot. That's just got to be what you're looking forward to right now, right, as far as next steps. And just it'll be nice to hopefully have some kind of plan in place looking forward and see what's in store for you.
Yeah, just getting my foot in the door is the main thing. Once I'm there, then I just give my best shot and play football. Play football with the best players in the world. So that's been my dream my whole life, and it's something that's right around the corner. So I've been training, I've been working my tail off for it, and I'm excited to see what happens. But yeah, definitely gonna get my chance.
Hell yeah. Sweet, Cole. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on, man. That's all I got for you tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. I've been watching the show this past season, and I like what you're doing with D1 Rejects. It's cool for small school guys.
You're the man. You're just another great part of it, brother. I'm excited to see where you end up, man. You got a fan in me for sure.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Sweet. See you, Cole. Thank you to Coach Parsons and for Cole for joining us here tonight. We're going to switch over to the D2 scene, though, Kenny, and talk about the Cliff Harris Award, and a guy that I know you're not too familiar with the D2 landscape, right? But you talk a lot of football on your show. What's the show called? People
Ken
interested.
Dog Sports, baby.
Ken Dog Sports. Where can we find you?
On YouTube, Instagram. I don't really have Instagram because
YouTube, though, for sure.
YouTube. My Instagram is, I have so many followers of like, I may make a Instagram just for my channel sometime.
Do it.
And just maybe have one just for my channel and one just for my personal.
That's how you got to do it, man. Once you gotta commit to it, though. That's a big deal. But
I do have a Twitter.
There you go.
Ken Dog Sports.
There you go. Get on it. But today, Kenny, we're talking about the Cliff Harris Award and a guy that put together a ridiculous season last year, that being Tanner Volk from Central Washington. There is the picture right there. Cliff Harris Award given to the Small College Defensive Player of the Year. And that is the man that took home the award. And for those maybe not familiar like you as far as Cliff Harris is concerned, he's a guy that played at Ouachita Baptist, a D2 in the GAC. Their stadium is actually named after him. Kenny, I'll pull up a photo
Cliff
here
Harris?
so you can. Yes, their stadium is named after the player here. If I can find it here shortly. But Cliff Harris was a guy that went on to the NFL and saw a ton of success with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give you a list of some of his accolades here shortly. But this is, I think, a pretty good shot of the stadium over at Ouachita there. What do you think?
It looks really nice.
Pretty nice, huh?
I wish we had something like this at Northern, but we still have the dome.
I was just saying, what are you talking about? We got the Superior Dome up here. I would take the dome over this for sure. Bro.
True.
Yeah.
But if it had a little bit of that in the dome, it'll be perfect.
Yeah, no, this is a good look though. But the thing is, this is kind of only like one side of it, so you see like that is a good look at the stadium right there. They got a nice setup. When they fill that thing up, they got a nice setup. You can see it's just like the one side of big bleachers. It's not like a whole enclosed deal.
That was just like when I went to Adrian, because when I was at Philandia, I was the manager there. I went to all these nice fields, and it looks just like the one at Adrian.
Yeah.
That
what's the best D3 field you've seen?
Not Philandia's, but I think Adrian is the best D3 school I saw.
Adrian, best field? I hear you.
But yeah,
I hear you.
The worst one I went to was, I'm sorry, rest in peace, Iowa Wesleyan.
Iowa Wesleyan, huh?
Yes.
Huh.
Because they're just on a high school.
Yeah, a lot of teams share like that. It's kind of tough for them. You know what I mean?
It's all grass. It's like just one little bleachers and once. It's just
tough.
It was not a fun trip down there because we got blown out and now both teams are not
even around anymore, right? Yeah, that stinks.
That was the worst trip I think ever I've been on.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I don't mind going to Adrian because Adrian's really good.
Yeah, my AA teams, man. That league's been pretty legit. But talking about Tanner here, he's a guy that he had 13 picks this year, Kenny.
What?
13 interceptions, and that's why you win an award like this.
I've never seen anyone with that many picks.
Now you have. He's sitting right up there on the screen, brother. He was insane this year. Otherwise, stats for him, you're looking at 64 solos, 60 assisted tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 17 pass deflections, a forced fumble recovery. He filled up the whole stat book, right? And that's which was so incredible about his game, and I think even more so is that he just elevated that team. The defense more specifically, not just him. The defense for that team had him go down and after losing in the Lone Star Championship, go on and make a little bit of a run there in the playoffs, beat a really solid Bemidji team. They did some really special things in that playoff run, and most of it was due to that defense they got. But talking about the award, he's only the second player from the Lone Star Conference to win the award since its inception. I think it was about like 2013 or so. It's a relatively newer award as far as college football goes. Cliff Harris, though, he was undrafted out of Ouachita Baptist. He won a starting spot as a rookie with the Cowboys. Then he got called into military service.
What?
So he steps away from football, gets called into active military service, comes back, keeps ball, and picks up his spot right where he left off.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is like patriotic as hell. That is awesome.
That's a great player.
Isn't that crazy?
I wish I had someone like that at Northern or like at
Anywhere, man. I would take that. That's sick.
I would love watching it in person.
Yes, dude. I'm with you. But he comes back to the Cowboys. He ended up playing in 5 Super Bowls. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, first team All-NFL for 4 consecutive seasons, and then he's now in the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor. So that's the short story here on this man, Cliff Harris. And
is Cliff Harris in the Pro Football Hall of Fame yet?
That is a good question. I don't know if he is or not. You can see that there's the Cowboys logo right behind Tanner right there, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, just a really special award for him. And when it comes to the selection committee for the award, we'll just keep talking about it a little bit. As far as some of the names on the award that you might know of, why don't I can just throw them on the screen for you. How about that? Be a little easier. Check these out. Can you read those from over there, brother?
Yes, I can.
You can. What names pop out to you on that one right there? That first one.
Roger Staubach.
Yeah. That's a big one. That is a big one. And then there's also other great names on there as well. But Roger, first and foremost, is pretty crazy on there. Yeah.
Drew up there. Parsons.
Pearson.
Pearson.
Yeah, Drew Pearson. Yeah, I believe so.
And Cliff Harris, of course.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. The award's named after him, you know what I mean? But, yeah, there's your selection committee, and when you look at the experience that goes into picking this award, this is everything as far as all the accolades of the people that are on this. 45 Super Bowl appearances,
Wow.
54 Pro Bowl appearances, a lot of All-Pro selections, some Hall of Famers, coaching Hall of Famers, a Heisman Trophy winner, a Super Bowl MVP. Like, I think sometimes people associate these small college football awards with just a group of people like you and me sitting in a basement and just talking about, hey, who do we think should win? There are some star-studded names on this list, man, and it's a lot of consideration and other things that go into the criteria for this award. And there's a D3 and NAIA winner and a D2 winner, but Tanner was the overall winner this year. So people from each division get represented, but there's only one overall winner, and that was Tanner had the honor of that this year.
Maybe next year we'll have one Northern.
You never know, dude. You never know. We can actually look at some of the previous winners here. I'll pull them up. There's definitely some names you'll recognize on this list. And you can see here some of the other division representatives from this year. There's your NAIA award winner from Grandview, and then the D3. We talked a lot about Owen Grover on this show at Wartburg. But going back even further, how about Caleb Murphy from Ferris State breaking the NCAA all-time sack record?
I didn't watch that much last year, but he was really good.
He was insane. Sam Roberts. You go down Kyle Duggar. There you go. We were talking about him before the show. A guy that Patriots guy that just signed a new deal, correct?
I'm pretty sure.
You know how much money? I can fact check it. No, I got it. Don't worry about it, brother.
I'm pretty sure he signed a new deal. Don't quote me.
Let's see. 4-year deal worth up to $58 million.
See, I was right.
There you go. That's pretty good money for a D2 guy.
Yes.
It's pretty good money in general.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
But there's, like I said, a lot of great names on this list. Duggar's just kind of the tip of the iceberg
Corey
there.
Ballantyne, the Packers player right now.
There you go, man. You see it from Washburn down there. Michael Joseph from Dubuque. And then you've got Connor Harris. I'm not familiar with more of these guys.
But Corey Ballantyne, I know that guy because he's now with the Packers.
Mm-hmm. But there you go. It looks like 2013 was that inaugural year. Cornerback from Lindenwood, who has now moved actually up to FCS. They're a D1 squad now.
Oh, not bad.
Yep. But that's the short story on Tanner, man. That's big time for him and for that program. They're staged to hopefully have another big time year, but they are losing some really big pieces. You talk about Volk and Rogers in the defensive secondary for them, guys.
Leaving?
We talk about.
Is the guy leaving?
Yeah, it was his last year, I believe. Actually, you know what? Volk might be back for one more year. I'll double check that. I know Pat Rogers, the other guy in the secondary there, is leaving, so they're going to miss quite a few pieces on that defensive front.
Is he heading to the draft?
Yes, he is. He had a couple of pro days. We're actually going to hopefully have him on here on the show sometime soon. But I believe, again, I'll have to pull that. I believe Tanner actually, now that I think about it, has another year.
Okay.
Let me double check that before we move on. Yeah, he's a junior. He's got one more year. That's correct. Okay. So Tanner is back. The dude who won it is back.
He might win it back-to-back years.
That'd be pretty incredible. And going through that list, he'd be the first one to be able to do that. He's going to have another crazy season, like 13 picks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But certainly not impossible, especially for a guy like him. Let's move on, though. D3 teams. not just D3 teams, the best D3 teams in the country, that being since 1997. And the criteria for that one, as you can see on the graphic we've got pulled up here, Kenny, since 1997, these are the football teams with no below average seasons in D3 football.
What?
Isn't that incredible? So you're talking now going on 26 years now without a losing record in football at the Division III level.
Is Mount Union on the team?
Mount Union is on the list. See right there, the Raiders in the purple?
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yep. They're incredible. They have the most championships in Division III football in Division III history right now.
And Wartburg is up there?
Wartburg, yes, they are. They're up there as well. You know who the second team is, though, as far as how many championships they've won?
Who?
It's not Wartburg. Another W team, though.
Wisconsin, Oshkosh, or Whitewater.
There it is. Whitewater also represented on the list there. But yes, a lot of Wisconsin, a lot of WIAC teams making this list, and that's something that stuck out to me right away. How the hell can you have 4 teams in Whitewater, Oshkosh, La Crosse, and River Falls? 4 teams in the same conference that have never had a below average season.
I have no idea.
Sorry, I should not say never. Since 1997, they have not never.
I have no idea.
Isn't that something?
And Philadelphia went for like many. I say about Philadelphia that's close. They went for many years and never got even
to a winning season.
To that.
Probably they have winning seasons. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, that's like how many schools are up there? Like 15.
Well, let's see. We can do a quick math here, huh? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like 22, 23 schools? That's pretty impressive, dude.
22 out of how many in D3?
A lot. A ton. So, yeah, really impressive. And some other squads, obviously, Bethel, Baldwin Wallace, the Cortland, which is kind of was a surprising one for me, Hobart even. But you kind of look at some of these leagues, like a Whitworth Pirates down there in the bottom right. Some of these squads maybe not playing in the best conferences ever. But with that being said, it's still impressive to not, to just escape mediocrity and to escape these losing records for that long. Very much so. And in this graphic here, Kenny, we've got 20 of the last 27 national champions.
Wow.
20 of the last 27. Can you name the teams that are not on here that won national championships that are not a part of this graphic? And they're recent ones, too. It's not a tough one. At least 2 of them are really recent ones.
Not Whitewater.
Nope, Whitewater's on there.
Wartburg won a champion. Wartburg, had they won a championship?
I don't believe Wartburg has won one in this time span. I know they have not won one in this time span.
Utica Bombers?
Utica does not won. Nope.
They won a championship?
Not in this time span, no. I don't know if they ever have, to be honest. Utica's not it. One of them's in Illinois, and one's in Texas. There's another one over in on the west side, too. But the 2 of them...
Baldwin has not won a championship.
I'm talking about teams teams that aren't on here that have won championships.
Oh, sorry.
In this time. You know what I mean?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Looking at this, what are the teams that aren't on this graphic that have won a championship in this time?
Is North Central?
North Central is one of them. There you go. I told you you'd be able to get that one. And then who won it before or after North Central?
Don't remember.
I shouldn't say after, before.
Don't remember. It's like...
Texas.
I know the team. What is it?
UMHB, Mary Hardin Baylor.
Oh, yeah.
They won a couple of them. So those are 2 of the squads. And then Pacific Lutheran is one, too, that has won a championship in this time that is also not on there. But I wouldn't expect – that would have been a pretty wild poll if you got that one. I'm not going to lie. They're out on the west coast over there. But, yeah, man, it's just a really interesting graphic.
I'm bad at D3 schools names.
It's tough, man. It's tough, isn't it? There's so many of them.
I know more D1 schools than any other. That's why we have this podcast here.
Mm-hmm. I hear you, but that's the important thing of this, right? Because then people get to see all this, man, which is really cool. But kind of moving on, we'll go back up to the Division II level and just talking a little bit about the spring scrimmages that have been going on. And our friend Matt Witwicky from D2Football.com grabbed a couple photos. Minnesota State, Mankato, and Northern State. They had a scrimmage, Kenny, on a neutral ground. It was a high school stadium, actually.
Really?
They scrimmaged on. I thought it was kind of interesting to go and do that on a neutral site. I believe the purpose was because kind of halfway between both both schools. One school in Minnesota, one South Dakota.
I know these two schools.
Kind of meet halfway. You should. We played Northern State last year.
Yeah, I saw them.
And then Mankato is pretty nearby in the NSIC.
And everyone knows about Mankato because their hockey system.
Well, their football team just, not even very recently has been one of the best programs in D2 football. So a lot of people know about Mankato because of football, to be honest with you. In the 2010s, even going up into 2015, 2020 in that area, Mankato football is one of the best teams of the decade there.
They just won basketball champions, boys and girls, I'm pretty sure.
They did, dude. Mankato, good poll right there. Men's and women's basketball, both national champions this year.
How is that possible?
It's incredible. And you've got a football team that's absolutely killing it in the NSIC. And then you've got a hockey team that is in the playoffs, kind of on the verge of the playoffs every year. They've been making a lot of push, especially in the CCHA. They've been kind of a top dog, right?
They lost to Tech by heartbreaker at the end. You saw that?
I did see that. It was pretty crazy. But even the year before, they won the CCHA, just last year. You know what I mean? So
they're really good.
The athletic department over there just got to be doing great things.
I want to know, what does Mankato take that Northern Tech, Lake Superior State can use?
Good question.
I want to know how they do this.
Very different geographically, though. We're talking about the UP versus Minnesota, right? So there's a lot of different things going on. But talking about the actual scrimmage, though, a little bit, just read a couple articles and pieces. Mike Schmidt, the head coach over there for the Wolves at Northern State, he was talking about how good this was for them in terms of a measuring stick, right? So if you're a team like Northern State that was pretty mediocre last year, won a couple of games, but not really many against great quality opponents, they kind of want to see what they're made of, right? And what better way to do that against what they know is going to be a really quality Mankato team returning a lot of pieces, especially offensively. He was just talking about how good of a measuring stick this was for his team, and I think that's just really important, dude.
That's very important.
Otherwise, though, I'm trying to find...
They now have this in D2. They can go scrimmage like two teams now for a...
You can go in scrimmage. It's one other. I believe it's one other. You can set up like a actual scrimmage.
Really?
Yeah. But the thing that's really cool about this, actually, which is different, is that they did a regular scrimmage right here with the Northern State, right? And I'll show a couple of other photos here from Matt. They did a regular scrimmage, Mankato did, and there's a couple good shots here. But what they're also going to do is have a more traditional spring game. So
really?
They're going to not only do the scrimmage with the Wolves, they'll actually come back and have their own spring game. Or they already had it. Excuse me. Their spring game was April 13th, so a little over a week ago. They already had that. So they had their spring game, and then a week later, they scrimmaged a different opponent.
What?
But that was kind of interesting. I think a lot of people might get worried about injuries or overuse in the spring, especially, but they must think that they're at a good spot and they just want to compete. And I can certainly see from a coaching standpoint, man, let's get some reps in with the whole scheme.
Was it Mankato or North?
Mankato. Mankato had their spring game on the 13th. Their purple versus gold game, they called it. They did 4 15-minute quarters, and then they had just a little defensive and offensive scoring system. A lot of people do that for their games, and they had a pigskin barbecue after the spring game. That sounds like that'd be fun, eh?
We should have it plopped out.
No, you get it.
I can't hear you more.
Go ahead and just throw it right up in see it right next on your right ear there. Yeah, just plug it back in.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You got it. First time in the headset there. Pigskin barbecue, though. That'd be fun, eh?
Maybe have this at Northern.
Maybe they'll bring that up, dude. That'd be fun. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting piece. You go a week removed from your inter-squad game now to having a scrimmage against another Division II opponent. And what's interesting about this, too, is another game where these two teams are in the same conference, which is really interesting for me.
They are?
They are. Then there's NSIC. Both of them are. But the NSIC, unlike the GLIAC and other teams, they have split divisions inside of their conference. So they have, I believe it's an East and a West is how they divide it. But anyway, there's two divisions. These two will not play each other in 2024. So
that's good for them.
It makes a lot of sense, because why would you scrimmage a team that you're going to play in the fall? You typically don't want to do that, right? So that's kind of how that works.
Or if they do that, they do don't use their normal plays.
Exactly, because you don't want to be showing stuff, right?
They don't want to show them your best play you have.
I mean, you don't want to show any formations, sets, anything, dude. You don't want to show anything to them if you're going to play them in the fall.
Show them on video. That's different, because it's harder to break down film than in person.
Oh, you don't want to put it on video either. You don't want any of that getting out. No way. No way, dude. But let's finish up our piece. Let's talk about the helmet comms. We've got helmet communication coming to D1 FBS only, so not FCS schools, just the football bowl subdivision, the big-time scholarship football. And in the piece here, college football, it says, this is from Adam Rittenberg, he's ESPN senior writer. He says, college football is adding helmet communication to FBS games, 2-minute timeouts at the end of each half, and other changes approved this week by the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel. So the FBS teams, Kenny, they'll be given the option of using coach-to-player communication through the helmet of one player on the field, designated with a green dot on the midline of his helmet. So you're going to see who that player is. Typically, we would assume that would be a quarterback, correct?
Quarterback or
like a middle linebacker type of deal, right? That's the kind of the usual case. And looking at some more of the ways to be implemented. Sorry, I lost my spot on the article.
It happens.
Oh, there it is. Yes, so several teams used helmet communications during the most recent bowl season, but now it's an option for every game inside of FBS, the top division, which is pretty sweet. The coach-to-player communication gets shut off with 15 seconds left on the play clock or the snap of the ball, whichever comes first. So your play clock, which is 45 seconds, I think. Yeah. So somewhere along those lines. The play clock, when that gets to 15 seconds, shut off. So if you're halfway through a play call and then, 15 seconds hits, you might just be screwed, huh? Or if you're running some kind of tempo, whatever, that snap of the ball, that gets cut off. That way, obviously, you can't be in somebody's ear while the play is going on. Hey, you got him on the post. Like, they can't do shit like that. You know what I mean?
You can't.
Could you imagine, like, your Madden quarterback and you can just tell him, like, hey, watch the curl in the left, watch the curl in the flat.
Yes.
You got a DB like, hey, he's running a go route. Like, I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting.
What do you think that would be like if it came to D2 and D3?
I think for two reasons that couldn't happen. One is the money side of it, right? And getting that set up in a lot of different places and like the equipment staff of places having to accommodate that.
2-minute warnings there, right?
We don't have 2-minute warnings in college. No.
They don't?
No, just NFL.
And call it and D1?
No, I don't think there's a 2-minute warning for them either.
Okay.
Yeah, just NFL. But that's the one reason is the equipment side of it and the cost of putting that in there for a lot of schools. Like to be liable for that as like an equipment staff, a lot of places probably couldn't go up with that. But the other, I think the more important one is like the officiating side of it. It's just adding more hands to the equation. So now you need to bring in somebody else that's in charge of that and in charge of policing that. When it comes to the officiating crew, you have to have someone who's there to turn on and off that communication. And you probably can't trust somebody on the staff to do that because I'm sure there'd be ways they try and work around it. So I would assume for those reasons that we're not going to see this come to D2 or D3 anytime soon, but I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. Who knows, dude?
Maybe it's coming 2025.
I doubt it.
It could.
For the record, I doubt it. Absolutely doubt it.
It could.
But could you imagine, like, you got to bring in separate people then to be in control of that. And then now with D2, we're just starting to get to, like, instant replay on certain plays when it comes to even only select conferences in Division 2. The RMAC, the MIAA, the GLIAC is one of them now. And I'm totally, the Gulf South is the last one. So we're just starting to see some of that in Division 2, and that's a big step for some of these conferences because now you're talking about a whole other aspect of the game and a whole other aspect of officiating that everyone involved, all the parties have to worry about. So adding this anytime in the near future just feels like way too much for these officiating staffs to take on. But it is going to be, an interesting piece to see how it is used. And, they've long used the boards, the signs. We're going to take a look at all of it. Maybe we'll do that in just a second. But it does say here, the topic gained focus after the NCAA began investigating Michigan for allegedly orchestrating an elaborate sign-stealing system. And, from a lot of coaches, including Kirby Smart, head coach at Georgia, he's the committee co-chair of that rules committee. He said that, and a lot of people agree with him, they still expect many teams to use hand signals and signs to relay in plays to the offense. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think they'll keep it. They'll keep it.
Well, you'll have the option to do both, though.
Oh.
That's the thing. So the thing is, you could be doing, like, these are some of my favorites, right? Like, you talk about, this is what, I hope this does not leave the game, because these are awesome. Why do we have a foot emoji? We got a mushroom, sunglasses, a cow, an X, tiger, frozen eyes, fire, and just everything you could think of. 3 different guys wearing 3 different colored hats.
Headset down there.
Isn't that awesome?
Dinosaur.
Yeah. And then I think
Is that Pocahontas looks like?
I don't think that was Pocahontas. This
It
might
could
even
have been.
be this might even be a better example of something that I love on college football Saturdays. These guys who their job specifically is to hold up these big flags, and you know why they do this, Kenny?
Why?
Because typically, at least when your field's set up, right, you've got the box kind of behind these people looking down. And so what they want to avoid, they put these flags over top of the signal caller. That way, if you're looking down from behind, looking down on it, you can't see the signs for the guys up in the box, the coaches and the personnel up in the box.
I will take that job.
Yeah.
I'll take it. You're probably getting good paid just to put up a sign.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Or something.
I doubt it. But that is funny that like for a long time they have done this pretty religiously. A lot of football teams have incorporated that flagging method, if you will. And then another great thing that, again, I hope is not lost in all of this, Kenny, is the different signal callers wearing literally every color in the book. You've got yellow, just bright blue, baby blue, the dark green, the light green. And then on top of all that, we do have the board. So it's a combination of both. And
National Predator.
Yeah, we got some random logos on there.
A Rooster, what is that basketball team? Is that like the
Where at?
Phoenix underneath the Predators? Is that like
I gotta like turn my head. It looks like an old Sixers logo, actually.
what?
Yeah, it does. I'm not sure,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Traffic light. Pretty crazy. A horse on a treadmill or something. We got a lot going on. But yeah, so typically, I mean, when you see stuff like this, usually it's quarterbacks on the sideline, whoever's, it could be the whole team, right? That could be the whole team, especially if you're trying to do an up-tempo kind of offense. And that's the thing where this maybe doesn't come into play for some of those. We still see it a little bit more in college.
Yeah.
NFL, very much less so, right? That up-tempo kind of fast-paced offense. But in college, there still are a lot of systems utilizing that get up to the line of scrimmage, snap the ball, and go and try to take the defense by surprise. In that case, your helmet communication is probably not going to come into play too much. You're still going to be relaying a lot of signals. And in this kind of instance right here, what typically would happen is they've got one designated single caller, and it should be only the offense knows which of these guys is giving the right signals. The other three guys are over there just doing jack shit, just doing whatever, dude, just waving their hands around, making up signs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of funny.
I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. It might go horribly wrong, or might be one of the most best things that NCAA ever done.
I think it might be pretty seamless, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be incorporated pretty well. I would expect it to not be anything too jarring. Like, I don't know if it'll actually shake things up too much. I'd be really interested to hear from some of the quarterbacks that have that go on, and also like who's going to be the person that is talking into the ear of the quarterback, because typically it's not going to be the head coach. Would it be the offensive coordinator? Would it be that kind of play caller role, or would it be somebody maybe up in the booth? Yeah, could it be someone up in the booth that's like seeing different things? I don't know. I would assume it would be like an OC or someone who is actually calling in and relaying those plays and information, but I suppose teams could approach it differently if they wanted to. An OC or DC does make the most sense. Right. Yeah.
It's going to be something else.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting, dude.
What else is new?
As far as the D1 game goes, just take a look. Now, though, teams in all football divisions will have the options of using tablets to view in-game video. How about that?
That's going to happen at NMU and
It says all football divisions. I don't know if that means all the way down to D2. I'm assuming that's just D1 as far as FBS and FCS. I'll have to follow up on that. That'd be kind of ridiculous.
That'll be probably another topic for, like, if it happens this year.
Yeah, it does say all football divisions, but up to 18 tablets will be distributed on the sideline, locker room, and coaches' booths to study game broadcast feed as well as camera angles from a team's sideline and red zone. So this is definitely only D1.
Yeah. There's
no way we're bringing that to D2 and D3. But 18 tablets. That's pretty wild. The tablets can be viewed by all team personnel, but cannot connect to other devices, project larger images, or provide data and analytics. Kind of neat.
Yeah.
NCAA panel also approved automatic timeouts with 2 minutes left in the second and fourth quarters. And there you go. That's kind of very close to like your 2-minute warning. So that's just being introduced into college football right now when you were talking about that earlier, remember?
Yeah. I wish I had something like this in D1, D2.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I really do, because I think it actually, like, from a coaching standpoint and from like a gamesmanship standpoint, you have to coach around that and almost strategize, like using that 2-minute warning as a timeout. Exactly.
And if they want to keep their 3 timeouts, because at the end of the game, you're like, it's a crucial time.
Yep,
It's like,
absolutely. If
come
you got to
down
like
by
make a stop on defense and stop them 3 times, have all 3 timeouts ready, whatever it is. It says they will not be additional television timeouts, and all the timing rules will be synchronized, including 10-second runoff, stopping the clock when the first time is getting blah, 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 blah.
basically the same thing, 10-second runoff.
Yeah.
What is the 10-second runoff actually initials? Like, is something bad happened or what?
10-second runoff happens typically, I know, when there's a like certain penalty situations, right? Then a 10-second runoff will occur, or even for guys who are like injured, right? And it kind of stops the pace of play because what they don't want to do is grant teams additional timeouts, right? So you can't like fake an injury and have a timeout, or have a penalty and it just stops the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they kind of are getting after with that. The last kind of bigger rule, I guess, is that horse collar tackles within the tackle box will result in the 15-yard penalty now. So previously it was only outside the tackle box. Anywhere now, if you get horse collar tackle, that's 15 yards. No
That's
bueno.
lame.
What do you mean that's lame?
I don't know.
Horse collar tackles?
On top of what happened in the NFL, like.
That's hip drop. That's way different. Hip drop tackle versus horse collar is like you're getting grabbed up here, right? You're getting grabbed from in the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
You're talking hip drop where they take out their legs underneath them. That was the NFL PA, like their kind of new thing, right? Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was like, that's a
No,
rule
it's
that I
all right.
don't really like.
That's all right. Yeah, that one was a lot more controversial. I don't think you'll see any pushback on the horse collar tackle rule. That's just really dangerous. You know what I mean? When someone gets grabbed up here or whatever, they don't that doesn't usually fly very well, man. But that's about all I had now for the thick of it, man. What else you got? Anything big happening?
Nothing much. Just here. This is the off season. This is like my least favorite time to talk about YouTube because draft is coming up, but there's nothing between the draft and August 1st.
Oh, excuse me. You've got summer OT. Talking like, oh man.
You good?
We're talking NFL. We're talking college. I can tell you a lot of stuff that's going on between now and then. With NFL, you got summer OTAs. You got other things going on. You got a lot of guys going out into the community and doing a lot of their like service projects.
Is that their Walter Payton Man of the Year, basically?
I mean, they don't do it for that. The idea of the award is like you go out there and you do all of this, and the Walter Payton Award just recognizes them for that. But as far as college goes, I mean, all summer you've got a ton of different prospect camps and other things, satellite camps that schools will do, and a lot of different recruiting that goes on over the summer when it's not in like a dead period, depending on the level. So football is very much definitely year round, but sometimes it is harder to find some topics in the offseason, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about sports in the offseason.
It can be hard, man. What do you think about the draft? What are the Lions doing? What are the Packers doing? Those are your boys over there, huh?
I don't know what the Packers are going to do. I think the Packers might sign Cooper DeJean.
Really?
Draft. He's a good guy. He's not bad.
No, he's a great player. Is that you think that they'll go like corner or DB? Like, is that you think they'll go?
Maybe corner.
Because I don't think he's making it out of the first round.
He's going to be first round.
Yeah, it feels like it's almost locked up.
Or
I think I know what the Packers would do.
Or offensive lineman.
I think I know what the Packers do.
What?
Lose the NFC North.
No.
Yeah. Bring out those black uniforms, baby. Motor City.
Hey,
you can't bring those out and lose the North.
You can't go. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the green and gold.
Nothing right with them.
But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. The Packers might draft the offensive line on the first round, but either way, they're gonna go offensive line either Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, quick.
They can't.
Yep.
Go without drafting a guy because it's like this offensive line group is a stack crew this year.
Yeah.
It's big.
Talking about the draft class.
Yeah. By far, one of the best offensive line drafts in years.
Heard it here first.
I'm pretty sure. Is there anything else that's pretty good this year for draft? Like the best?
That's a good question, man. I know the quarterback class is supposed to be an interesting kind of field here. It's been a pretty highly rated quarterback class. You talk about guys like obviously Williams is a big one. Penix is going to be up there. May from North Carolina.
JJ.
JJ, I don't even. He's going to be in there though. But the big one, LSU. Why am I?
Jaden Daniels.
There you go. He's going to certainly be in that. There's a lot of big-time names at the quarterback position, and even some that'll even fall down further.
Rattler.
Guy like Spencer Rattler, guy like Bo Nix. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that could go here in the first 2-3 rounds, right, to teams that are looking to either get a guy right away or are looking to have a guy maybe sit a year and kind of learn and do whatever in a later round. But
I'll be watching the draft on Thursday, probably Friday, and probably Saturday. I usually just turn on the TV, just
there you go.
Do stuff, and just watch it.
I'm hoping we get some D2 and D3, maybe some NAIA guys picked up.
That's going to be awesome. It's like, just like last year, it was like, I was waiting for when Jake would get drafted. It was like, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. Like, when he got drafted, it was like, I was so happy for him. Like,
he was only one of 2 small school players to get drafted last year.
Who else is the other one?
Ethan Evans. He's a punter from Wingate, D2. He's the starting punter for the Rams. Stud.
He's really good.
You didn't even know who he was 30 seconds ago.
I know.
How you going to say he's really good? You just asked me who he was.
I mean, like, the punter was pretty good. I remember.
Oh, yeah? Okay. But, yeah, I think we're going to have more this year. I really do. I think we'll have, it'd be great to see, like, 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Like, 4 or 5 small school guys get picked up. That'd be pretty awesome. I'm going to be off the grid, though. Friday and Saturday. I'll be back Sunday, but I'm going to be off on a camping trip, so I'm going to miss.
Where are you going to go?
Just around here, local.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm going to be off the grid, so hopefully I don't miss too much as far as small school balls go.
Then on Sunday, it will just, what's it called? Tweet out all the guys that got.
Yep. That's the goal. I got to catch up on it. So we'll see. So Thursday is round 1, Friday round 2 and 3.
Yes.
Saturday 4, 5, 6. Everything else is a Saturday.
I did the math. I heard it's 10 minutes first round, 7 minutes second round.
What do you mean 7 minutes? That they're clocked?
Yes.
Okay, I see. For the teams.
The 3rd through 6th is about 5 minutes, and the last round is only 4 minutes.
Oh wow! Didn't know that.
That's a crazy scale. Like,
they gotta get that thing going, man. They gotta keep it moving.
Like, the first round, I get it. They want to drag it on.
Absolutely. Plus, you only got 1 round on that day too. So
why not drag it down? That's why I hate the most, because when I went on a trip last year, not 2 years ago, I went to a baseball trip because I was helping out with my baseball team. It was like the draft started around 8 o'clock. I got home just in time for the Packers' 2nd pick.
Yeah.
And that was like 11 o'clock. Like, not even 11 o'clock. That's probably like 11 o'clock that happened. It's crazy how drafts go.
It is interesting. That's a whole deal, though. So many people have their hand in that. It's such a big promo and a big deal for the NFL, and a big deal for Detroit, man. Having it in Detroit, the business that's going to bring to the city is huge.
I can't wait to see how many people go to Detroit. It's going to be a madhouse in Detroit this weekend.
I think so, man. I'd love to be down there.
I would love to be down there, too. But next year, we'll go.
No, I don't know. In Green Bay?
Yes.
We'll see, man.
Hey,
we'll
Green
see.
Bay's not too far from here.
No, it is not. It's not a bad drive from Marquette at all, is it?
You could take go down there on Thursday night, come back Thursday night. It's easy.
Go down on Thursday night, come back on Thursday night?
Yeah.
No.
You could.
No way, dude. That's what, a 3-4 hour drive?
The hotels are going to be expensive.
I'm staying, dude. How are you going to drive? We going to drive back like 1 o'clock? No way.
Fair
dude.
enough.
You're not driving that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's all we got for tonight. Thank you for joining me, Kenny. I appreciate it, dude. Glad to finally get you on here.
I just want to say something.
What
I
you
hope you
got?
guys please subscribe to Ken Dog Sports. I'm on my way to 600, man.
There you go. On YouTube? 600 subs?
What do you put in the
Put in the description, dude. It'll be in there. Link to it. It'll be on there.
600. I'm trying to make more content, but I'm busy in school.
I hear you, dude.
I'm a busy
Are we
man.
all? Are we all?
Yes.
If anyone gets it, I get it, dude. I get it.
You went through it.
I'm still going through it. I'm still in school. I ain't done, brother. I ain't done.
When are you graduating?
Couple weeks.
Ooh.
Then I'm done. Big time.
After how many years of schooling?
Enough. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for joining me, man.
Thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you again.
Yeah, glad to have you. This has been D1 Rejects. Thanks for tuning in.